Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Wispin here, and welcome back to another video here on the Pokecentral network. Now, if you guys have been following the channel for the last couple of weeks, you will know that we have been putting out these weekly updates every single Friday, and this week is no exception. We have some pretty cool stuff to go over. But before we get into this week's updates, I want to quickly say that I do read all of the comments on these videos, so if you have any ideas or suggestions for the server, make sure to go ahead and leave them down in the comment section below or direct message me over on Discord. If you do want to join my Discord and Pokecentral's Discord, all you have to do is go ahead and check the description. There will be an invite link. We have over 13,000 members, so if you have any questions about the server, about Pixelmon, about pretty much anything, you can go ahead and join. There's a support channel, so you'll pretty much get a response 24/7 anytime due to the amount of members over there. But with all that aside, let's go ahead and jump into this week's updates. Now, this is probably my favorite week so far since we started doing these weekly updates, and I think this update is by far one of the coolest that we've had in a very long time. And the update is player warps. Now, this is something that I've wanted to implement here on the server for a very long time, probably at least a year and a half, maybe even 2 years since I wanted to add this, and we finally figured out a way that we can add it in a useful, easy to use way that I feel like is really great, and I really love the way that it actually turned out. So let's just go ahead, jump straight into how exactly it works and how you can set up your own warps. So every single player gets a single warp. You cannot set multiple warps. You can get one per player, but you can move it at any time, and you can actually advertise it in chat, which is really cool. All you need to do is actually type the command /pwarp set. Let me go ahead and turn on my chat really quick, and you can see we successfully set our warp location. Now, if we actually type /pwarp, it'll immediately take us back to the same location and actually the same position we're facing. So make sure when you set your warp, you're facing in the direction that you want the player to be facing when they use your warp. Now, if you want to use a different player's warp, you can actually just type /pwarp and then the player's username. So in this case, I would do pwarp wispin, and we go straight to where I set my warp. Now, there are a few other really useful commands. There is /pwarp close, and that will actually close your warp to the public. That means that you will be the only person that can actually access your warp. And so if you have maybe a shop or a casino or some sort of an event that is only running part of the time, you can close it and then reopen it later on without having to delete and reset your warp. So I feel like this is a super useful command, but of course you need to know how to open your warp, and it's pretty straightforward. You just do /pwarp open, and that will allow players to teleport to your warp once again. So as you can see, taken straight back to the same warp location. Now, there is actually, well, /pwarp delete to delete your warp, really not that interesting. But the most important commands are probably just pwarp set and then pwarp username to teleport to another player's warp. However, the coolest part about this entire plugin, at least in my opinion, is the ability to advertise your warps in chat. All you need to do is put bracket, pwarp, close bracket, and that will actually go ahead and put in text in the chat that is clickable. So you can just go ahead and anytime you see one of these messages, if you want to go to that person's warp, you can just go ahead and click it, and it will instantly... Okay, so the first time I actually did this, I just realized I removed my warp, but I reset it now, so when I click this text, it will take me to my warp location. So you can move your warp at any time. You can advertise it in chat. If you do /pwarp, you can say something like, come check out my shop. There you go. And now anybody can click that message, or they can just type /pwarp and then your username, and they can come visit your warp. I think this is going to be really great for shops because currently it's pretty difficult to find people's shops, and it's pretty difficult for people to advertise their shops because they have to individually teleport every person there using TPA, which is kind of annoying, and you have to sit at your shop location, so you can't really do anything else while you're trying to get people to come, and all kinds of things. Just really not that intuitive, but this warp system should help completely solve that issue. You can advertise your shop pretty much as you want. Of course, don't spam too much in the chat, but you can occasionally toss the message up there and people can come check it out. But even more cool, I think it's going to be great if you guys want to create your own events. So if you want to do a spleef event where all the players can come warp in, compete in a spleef event for a set amount of money, maybe even have an entry cost. So everybody puts $1,000 into the pot and then the winner takes it all, or something cool like that. Or if you want to open up a casino, that would be cool. Make sure you're not scamming players. You'll get banned for that. But as long as your casino is fair and you display the odds accurately, you're good to go. You can do that. You can even do things like set up a Pokemon tournament and everybody can come check it out. or if you want to set up a parkour course just for fun. I know most people have /fly and can ride Pokemon, so technically they can cheat, but you can always watch and make sure people aren't cheating, and it could just be for fun. It doesn't necessarily have to be for any sort of a reward, or if you just want to do a giveaway and get a bunch of people to come to your base so you can drop some Master Balls or something like that. Another great way to do it is just set up a player warp. I think this plugin is awesome. There's so much you can do with it, and it really opens up the possibilities for players to create their own content for other players to check out, which I think is the coolest possible thing that we could add to the server this week. But hey, that's not all. We also got an update for the GTS. So the GTS developer is actually someone I have contact with, and I love the GTS plugin, but I thought there were some things that could be changed to improve it overall for the players. So I've been talking with him and working with him and trying to get some things implemented so that you guys can enjoy the plugin a little bit more. And I actually think this is probably one of the best updates just because of how I don't know, it's kind of a small thing. I'll show you guys. You can let me know what you think about it, but when you do /GTS now, there is 15 additional slots. He went ahead and actually removed the border of glass on the top of the GTS box. I'll hopefully put a screenshot of what it used to look like in case you weren't aware. But now there's 15 additional slots, so that means it takes it from the original 21 slots here in the middle to, I believe, 36 total per page, which is a small change, but a super useful one. And then, of course, you still have your listings, the page buttons, the refresh listings, and then the filter items. You can also filter Pokemon. So some pretty cool stuff here. If you guys have any other additions or suggestions that you want to be implemented into GTS, let me know down in the comment section below. And if I agree with them, if I think they're a good suggestion, I'll make sure to go ahead and push them on to the developer. He's a great guy, and he actually does listen to suggestions, which is really cool for a developer that's making a public plugin. So big shout out to him, Nick Impact. Thank you. And of course, if you guys have any other suggestions and they're actually good suggestions, I'm sure he'll be more than happy to implement them into the plugin. So you guys may have noticed this entire video, I've been standing in front of a brand new build at spawn. If you're familiar with the server, you will know this was not here up until a couple of days ago. There is a brand new Pokehunt NPC here. Now, PokeOn is something that we've had on the server for a fairly long time. However, I made a small change to it, which I think makes it a lot more useful. And I also put it in spawn because surprisingly, not a lot of people knew. I guess not really surprisingly. We never really advertised it that much here in game, but a lot of people didn't know about it. So I moved it to spawn. Now you can come visit this NPC. You can come check it out, and you can actually do Pokemon hunts. So if you aren't familiar with the plugin, basically the way that it works is you can go ahead and start a hunt. There's different tiers. The higher tiers give better rewards, but they also require more specific Pokemon. So for example, an insane hunt will require you to get a Pokemon of a certain species, certain gender, certain growth, certain nature, and a minimum IV percentage within 3 hours. So you have a very short period of time to get a lot done, but you also get a pretty good reward if you can complete that. But we'll go ahead and just do an easy hunt to showcase it. So you can see we need to find a male ducklet. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and not really that difficult at all. We could definitely do that in maybe 15 minutes, and we actually have 3 hours to complete it. So really easy to do. The change that I actually made to the plugin is super simple. All I did was actually double the amount of money reward that you can get for completing these Pokehunts. So it's actually a fairly good way to make money, in my opinion, at this point. Before, it was a little bit questionable just if you could make enough money to make it worthwhile. But I think now doubling the amount of money that you can get possibly is making it a little more worth it. I would recommend at least coming and checking it out, maybe doing an easy hunt every single day. You get a free hunt every 21 hours, and then after that, you actually have to pay 50 gems for any additional hunts. Not sure if the 50 gems is really worth it, but that free hunt definitely is. And if you do want to get yourself a bonus free hunt, all you have to do is head on back here and right-click this little poop block here. It'll give you a free bonus hunt, which means you can get 1 free pass on that 21-hour cooldown. Now, there's actually 2 final things that I have to say that we've actually changed this week on the server. Number 1 is there was a bug fix for boss Pokemon. So this entire week, pretty much, if you killed a legendary or a shiny boss, it actually announced in the chat, which was pretty funny, but it was kind of annoying, and it kind of got really annoying after the first couple of days, so it will no longer happen. The only way that a message will pop up saying you killed a shiny or a legendary is if you kill a non-boss variant of those 2. So still pretty funny, but it won't spam the chat constantly. And then the second thing that we actually changed was legendary spawn rates. So if you guys weren't aware, 7.0.5, which released last week, actually changed the way that legendary spawning works. It made legendary spawning kind of insane if you kept the same rates. So what we actually decided to do was drop the rates way down in order to prevent any sort of issues with legendaries spawning in way too much. And so now legendaries are spawning about once every 24 hours. I've decided to go ahead and increase the rates by about 65%. So it's going to be a lot more legendaries, but still hopefully not too overwhelming, not too many legendaries. But I think we can go ahead and continue to adjust the rates week by week based on how many are actually spawning in. And of course, you guys can give me feedback at any point with any changes that you want to see made to the server. So guys, that's it. That's all the changes that we've made this week. I definitely think player warps are really awesome, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with them. There is a ton of really cool stuff that you could set up, and I really hope that you guys use them to the full potential that I see. At least I think that you guys will do. I mean, events, I don't know. I would definitely, if I was just a regular player here on the server, and you know what, even as the owner, I might host some sort of like spleef events or maybe a maze. You know, you could do all kinds of things. There's so many cool ideas that I have. If you guys have any ideas for player warps that people could set up, again, leave them down in the comment section below and maybe someone will actually make them. I don't know. I'm really excited for this update and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. So if you guys do enjoy these weekly updates, make sure you go ahead and leave a like on the video. It does help me out because it lets me know that I am doing something right here on the server. These weekly updates can be a bit overwhelming. Having to put out a brand new update every single week is pretty difficult to come up with at times, but with your guys' feedback and the great staff team here on Pokecentral, it's actually pretty cool and pretty fun to do, and it seems like you guys are enjoying it a lot. So let me know. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.